Hi.
Is that you, Robyn?
How are you?
I'm doing good. You look so fabulous.
Well, thank you.
You know what my grandfather would call you if he was still living? And this is a high compliment, chocolate drop.
Got it, got it.
That beautiful skin, flawless complexion. You look fabulous today, Robyn.
Thank you, thank you.
So, Robyn, how's everything going these days?
Things are going. I'm in education
Mm-hmm.
and I have my own business. So my education work has me working for the organization I work for and the school I'm assigned to.
Oh, really?
And
What
so I have lots of things going on, and then I have my coaching practice.
Oof.
And so there's lots of balls to juggle virtually.
Okay, well, hold on a second now. This is interesting. So tell us about the organization you work with, and then tell us about the school you're assigned to.
Okay, so I work for an organization called the Children's Literacy Initiative.
Mm.
It's in Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
and our goal is to make sure that we can help raise the literacy opportunities for children in this city through our work with teachers. So help supporting teachers as they do the work to raise children's literacy.
Nice. Takes a village.
It takes a whole city. The village isn't big enough. It takes a whole city. So there's that. And so the school I'm assigned to is in a neighborhood that is in need of many different things, including bilingual services.
Ooh, I like.
So working with teachers as they work with students with multiple needs, including lots of bilingual, and now trying to do that virtually. Wow. So it's a little special.
Wow. Now, do you speak multiple languages?
I do not.
How does that work out for you then?
So the school has a dual language program for those that need the most support in language. So I work with the teachers outside of that program. So the majority of the school is conducted in English only.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good, because if you are an immigrant or of another culture, that, you know, first language of something other than English, being here in the US, it's important for their success and survival to learn and understand how to properly speak English. We're not saying they need to forget who their ancestors are, where they come from, and their culture. We're just saying you need to adapt to the American way as far as being able to communicate properly for career, school, life in general. So I think that's really, really good. And it's only going to help them expand their dialogue anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Wow. So now, how does all of this tie into what you do with your business?
So in my business, I am a coach. I am a personal coach, but I also coach parents and how to make sure that they are doing their part to increase their own children's literacy.
Wow.
So I'm the parents literacy coach, and I am Further Her's life coach.
Wow. Wow. I think that's fantastic. This is absolutely remarkable. You know, you don't see children reading these days. You don't even see them outside playing anymore. Technology has consumed them, swallowed them up whole. People don't even engage in a conversation. Do you know, I find it very offensive when people are not looking me in my eyes when I'm talking to them. I'm very old school. I say, turn off the phone and tuck it away.
Yes.
I don't allow phones to be looked at or used when me or any of my employees are in a meeting. It's
Good
disrespectful.
for you.
Oh no, I don't allow it. And don't say to me you're being efficient and you're checking this and checking that. You check it when you're done from the meeting and stuff. It's all about respect. We want respect. We have to give that respect by living an example or by example and stuff.
That's right.
But yeah, I think this is remarkable because we have gotten away or drifted away the importance of reading.
Yes, it's very, very sad to see in lots of situations. We know that libraries have lost funding. We know that school libraries, you would be surprised, all across the country, how many schools do not have full functioning lending libraries. And then on top of that, we're in systems where lots of children are not reading at the level they should be reading, but are not fully understanding the differentiation that needs to happen so that they are reading what's appropriate for them at that time.
Wow.
So the system isn't helping, and then parents don't know what to do, and then reading is not celebrated in our culture anymore.
No.
Everybody wants to listen to a book, and I'm not anti-Audible or, you know, those operations where you can listen to a book being read, but I do believe that children need to be able to fully engage with text in a way that does not give them the proper experience.
Read and write.
So it's difficult. It's very, very difficult.
And that's before coronavirus. Now, how is it for you with COVID-19?
So it's really more difficult because unless the child has already developed a really, really strong home reading habit, it's way more difficult, especially in communities of need, for children to have enough access to text to even beginning to build a home reading habit.
Wow.
They may not have the appropriate text. They may not have the right number of texts to get the right practice, to be able to improve their skills. So it's not easy in the virtual world at all.
I was going to ask you that question. How challenging is it exactly, if you can share with me? I can understand what the challenge was for you before COVID-19, trying to engage with these kids in person, but now what are the challenges that you feel as though you, your organization, and the school that you're assigned to, and even through your business, what are the challenges that you're seeing and facing since COVID-19 took place? Because you're not only partnering up with the children, well, you're partnering up with the teachers to help the children, but then you also have the consultant services or coaching services that support the parents so that they can continue on the efforts that you and the teachers are doing and making for their kids. What are the challenges? How is it that things have impacted you because of COVID?
So one of the interesting things about the work with parents, now most parents have had this past spring, to observe what their children are capable of.
Right.
Because I'm more involved because you're right there. And so if we're all at the dining room table that has become the office,
right,
and we are all reading together, I'm listening to you in your lessons, I'm actually getting a window, a view into what it is you're actually capable of, that I did not always have an understanding or an opportunity to see before. So there are parents out there who are now discovering, my child isn't as everybody else, or not what I thought I knew, or not what I anticipated,
right,
or even not what the test score says. And so there are parents who have become woke to the fact that their children aren't necessarily where they're supposed to be.
right.
And they don't know what to do with that.
And I
That
find
is
that
some new information.
I find it interesting that they don't know what to do, because number one, they should be sitting down with the children to study. I get it. You know, there are working parents out here. They, some of them are single parents, and they're hustling, trying to keep food on the table, a roof over the head, the lights on. I get that. But you have to be equally as committed to your children's educational well-being too. Sit down with them, and if you can't sit with them during their study period at home, then review the work that they're doing. And if you can't do those two things, get a tutorer, get some outside source to assist and help out. Find out what programs, if you can't afford to get those outside source, find out what programs are out there that doesn't cost you money to help out and stuff. But you cannot avoid not getting involved. And you should be starting from the moment you're trying to teach them to say apple, ball.
So everything you said is true. However, there's that other set of parents that's paying for private school, for whom money is not an issue,
right?
Who feel like I put them where they belong, I can take my hands off now.
That's not good.
And then what happens? Those kids get to middle school, and for many of them, that's when it becomes an issue. That's when the issue becomes clear.
Gotcha.
And so it could have been addressed a long time ago, and it should have been addressed a long time ago.
Right.
But so many parents take their hands off. I put them in the fabulous school. I'm paying $30,000 for tuition. I don't have to do the other stuff now. The school is supposed to do it for them. And so those parents get caught up in the, oh my goodness, as well.
Wow. So it's not just the communities that are less fortunate, it's also the more established communities too.
It's the people who,
communities.
It's the people I know who are doctors, lawyers. I promise you, it's the craziest thing. But they feel like I've given my child the education, I've afforded them the education that's supposed to work. And so I don't need to, I should not have to. And then middle school comes.
Wow.
And they are blown away.
So do you find it difficult? And my first question early on in the conversation was to ask you, walk me through the experience of the kids' experience and you coming into the picture, or someone like yourself. But before we touch on that, I want to touch on what is the experience in approaching those type of parents when the aha moment has arrived and they're in shock. Do you find it to be resistance, or, oh my God, I need you? Come on in, what do we need to do to fix it?
Most of the time it's, oh my God, I need you. What do we need to do to fix it?
That's good to hear.
But then it becomes a conversation of, okay, what have we done to this point? Which may or may not be anything. And then it becomes, again, most of the times they want to throw money at it. Do I need a tutor? I had to save this one woman, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars. Your child doesn't need a tutor. Your child needs access to the right text. You're out here buying everything else. Buy the level of text that makes sense for where your child is today.
Right.
Maybe Harry Potter is too difficult for your 6th grader.
Yeah.
And they need to be looking at something else. I don't care how many movies they've seen or whatever.
So you feel so they're pushing them to a level that they feel as though they should be at, and they haven't gotten here yet. And you're trying to say the system that you're offering through your strategic partners is to say, here's where, this is the level where your child is at, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need to work with what he has to offer and build him up to where he should be and where you desire him to be.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with reading, or fortunately, you can't skip. There's
No.
very little, you can't say, oh my God, we're 2 years behind, we're gonna fix this in 2 months. That's not how it works.
Right.
And so once parents get that understanding, they wind up with kids who are happier about the process because they've moved from a system, a series of failures to having some real successes, which makes you want to continue to do what needs to be done.
Right, right.
So it's an important step that lots of people miss, and then they want to, everything can be tutored. Some things have to be experienced, and you need to understand how to present the experience.
Let's look at tutoring. What is tutoring? In my eyes, tutoring is someone who has already evolved and is already where they should be on their grade level for reading, understanding the materials and everything. They just need that extra help, that extra support in the studying process so that they can move from, let's say, C to a B or a B to an A type of thing. Whereas they may not be able to be a part of a study group, or don't want to hold people back, or just need that extra hands-on time. That's what I see in tutoring. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I see in tutoring. Tutoring is not meant to fix the problem, it's to support an existence.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's not what folks see it as.
Right.
They want the problem fixed. And in this society, we're used to throwing money at problems and they get fixed.
They can throw money this way, I'll catch it.
Me too. Me too. So that's not the way we fix the reading problem.
I hear
and
you.
I'm talking seriously just basic stuff. I'm not talking diagnoses like dyslexia and
exactly.
This is basic.
Wow. Wow. What do you find more challenging? Getting the parents to adapt to the system that is offered, or the children?
It really depends on the family. It depends on what the value of education has been perceived as in your home.
Yes.
It depends on what level of value is given to books. I mean, there are many different factors about how families operate in education.
Right.
Both in school and at home.
Yeah.
If we never have books in our house, if we don't sit down every Tuesday night and 7 for an hour to read as a family, there are things that need to be happening from the very beginning, so that when it's time, or should a situation arise, we have structures in place that we can shift and adapt in order to be prepared to fix things. It can't happen in a vacuum.
Wow. That's right. It certainly can't. Wow. That's some powerful stuff. I find that what you're doing is remarkable, if I haven't said it already. And I find what you do on the side as a business is definitely a niche within itself and serves a good cause. And it's good to know. The first thing that came to my mind was that you were gravitating, or the system that you're a part of through your organization was all gravitating to the less fortunate families, but it's not. It's children from all lifestyles and home environments and and background and stuff, I know firsthand what you just said hits home for me, because my mother, she wasn't raised in a broken home. She had mom and dad all her life, a healthy environment, tons of siblings. And, they were encouraged to go to school and everything, and pushed in that direction, because my grandfather had been working to provide for his family growing up since he was a child. They had to take him out of school. My grandfather grew up with a third grade education. So my grandmother had to read everything for him. Mail that came in, prescription, whatever, it was always read for him, because he had no choice. And he had to be pulled out of school when he was a child to go out in the field and provide for his family as a kid. So my grandparents instilled in all of their children, go to school, get your education. All they wanted, just graduate from high school. My mother was rebellious. When you got so many kids like they did, they are butt wild crazy, and they do whatever they want, and they think they know everything. And so my mother, unfortunately, coming into her parenting stage or phase of her life with 3 kids, because she did not finish her education, because she thought she knew everything and dropped out of school to travel with a band, a rock band, she didn't understand the core values of an education. Some people take life lessons like that, where they make poor decisions and use it for the better good of their children, and others, they don't. And she just didn't understand the value. And I was one of my classmates in high school when we were writing out our class year pictures and books when we were juniors, preparing for our senior school books. We had to write what we desired to be, and wanted to be when we grow up. And one of I call him a class clown, he says, Gracie's going to be a professional student, because I always kept saying, after this school, after high school, I'm going to this school, and I'm going to study this and get my degree. And then after that, I'm going to this school, and I'm going to study and get my degree and focus on this and stuff. My mom couldn't understand it. She couldn't understand why I needed to focus so much on the education. Because no man or woman were going to give me the quality of life that I desire on a silver platter. I don't care who I know, how I was raised, whether I was raised with money or not. No one's going to give it to you willingly on a silver platter. You have to earn your way through, and the best way to earn your way through is an education. And the beginning source of an education is being able to read and count.
Yes, yes.
So when you say that it all depends on the culture of their home, how much the education is valued, I valued naturally. How is it that I came out so different from the other 2 kids of 3 children? And I pushed for my college education. I had to pay my way through school by myself, because my family didn't see the value. And so, I sympathize with the kids that don't have that environment, but I applaud the families that you've come across that identified that something needed to be done.
Yes, yes.
And for them to have a source like this. I met you through the IAW, Association for Women in Business.
Yes.
How long have you been a member?
I've been a member about a year. And then during COVID, they did lots and lots of outreach, if you will, more virtual events. And so I was able to attend more readily during COVID time.
Good, that worked out perfect for you.
It did.
Now, what are you looking to get from a business perspective with your involvement with the IAW, which is International Association for Women?
Right. So what I'm looking for really is just networking. I like to surround myself with women who are about something, women business owners, and this, even though it's virtual, was a great opportunity to get out there and start meeting people.
Right. Awesome. That is amazing. So we have the pleasure of having you involved in something that we're doing, and you're going to be speaking on what you do for a living to parents out there that are trying to figure out how can they assure the best education, the quality of education for their children because of COVID-19. Believe it or not, the school systems are still trying to figure out how are they going to adapt.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The summer wasn't enough time. Spring and summer wasn't enough time for them to strategize and figure it out. And, you know, for whatever reason or another, it's very important for the parents to, as we said before, get engaged and figure out how to assure your children's education with or without the school system. You can't just solely rely on someone else handling what your children need.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I put it out there a lot, and I've spoken to lots and lots of families that just taking some of my tips, it's not always a big giant thing. Yes, there may be multiple things you don't know, and that may take longer. Sometimes it's one change that you can make in your household.
That's it.
Will set it off for everybody to then start to reap the benefit. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be huge, gigantic. It could be a tip or two, and then you start to see change.
Absolutely. And that's why I want to be as much as a support to you, and getting your voice out there, and for people to be able to hear some of the tips and advices that you have. So thank you for being a part of this upcoming event in October. I always like to end off with a little fun fact and stuff. Okay. So my fun fact question for you is, let me set the stage for you. My most memorable childhood for me was 1979, 9 years old. That's when people were carefree, as far as in my world, in my mental world, carefree, fun. We used to, in the community that I lived in, the kids would ride their bikes, skateboard, roller skate, and some of the neighbors would bring their speakers outside and play music from time to time and just be polite, friendly, and just got along for the most part. So those were the innocent days for me, and I cherish those days. And it was also sad because I'm a 70s baby. It was farewell to the 70s. You know, 79s were leaving. What was your most memorable childhood life?
So actually very similar. I grew up in a neighborhood where we had lots of kids on the block, and I still have two girlfriends from back then. One, we must have been 5 and 6 when we met. Another, we may have been 9 and 10 where we met.
Wow.
And we're still very close.
Wow.
So I grew up with a lot of folks who, like you said, we had relationship. And so you knew your friends' mothers and father. You knew your friends' cousins when they came over. We had this huge circle of friends and people. And so I always cherish the fact that I met and still know some really, really cool folks from my childhood.
Wow. And you know, that's saying a lot, Robyn, because we all know that as we mature, get older, and life goes on, there's some turns and twists in our lives. People go in different directions. Sometimes it stems from our career. Sometimes it stems from decisions we make, good or bad. And for you to still have those lifelong relationships is a win situation. That means you respect each other, you respect who each other are, and you grow together.
Yes.
The changes, good or bad and stuff. That's awesome. Robyn, thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm super excited about having you in a couple of weeks and participating on tips and tools on how parents can, continue to get the best quality of education for their children, whether it's at home or through the school system, partnering up, and other sources. Stick around, don't go anywhere. I wanted to chat with you before you leave me. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.